You need to scale your business in the ever evolving world of business and in whatever industry that you're in. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time, we are the Spark. We are a social enterprise that provides entrepreneurs, small and growing businesses, innovators, change makers, and go getters like yourself with growth resources you need to start, sustain, and scale your business. Oh, I was just notified that he's not able to join. I'll try to add him back again. The moment, I don't know, Instagram can be tricky sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, yeah. Okay, done. Um, let's hope he's able to join this time around. Oh yes, he did. I think he did. But sometimes the app can be tricky. Let me try this again. Apologies everyone for this hiccup here. Let me try one more time. Yeah, the invite is
Yeah,
fine.
it
So
looks like you might have to update his Instagram.
yeah, I don't know if that's the issue right now because we had similar problem last week. It could be network, it could be just
How about I hop off and then you add in, then I try to join. Maybe that would help. Would that help in any way?
uh okay. Okay, let me try to reach him
Okay.
and then we'll see what happens. But we said it's here, but no audio. I wonder why. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, of course, I can hear you. Let me hop off and let's see if you can add him.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. I'm so sorry this is happening. Mm, oh, I'm not sure what is happening. Let me try to add who went back on the session. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. I think there's an
Yeah.
issue on his
Oh,
end.
okay. I think he's coming
Yeah.
up now.
Yeah,
Yeah, unexpected. Yeah.
great.
Oh, I'm looking for a better
Good
sitting
evening.
position.
But I think his camera, he has to switch
Yeah,
position his camera.
good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Glad to have you on this session. We thought we lost you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Um, okay, yeah, I think your face is now. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, good evening
It's
once
better
again,
now.
everyone. Welcome to the
Okay,
Spark
good
Ignite
evening.
series. We have two esteemed guests in our midst. We have Uwemakban. He is the VP Fund of Persons at Ingressive Capital. You know, he is someone who's on a mission to empower entrepreneurs, especially in tech. So prior to his role at Ingressive Capital, he was part of the founding team of the largest Pan-African entrepreneurship program, $100 million initiative, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which he led as the program manager for 5 years. Welcome to the Spark Ignite series, Owen. We're glad to
Thank
have
you,
you on board.
Chidadum. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we also have another esteemed guest here. We have Oluremi Avola. He is a certified estimate analyst with over 70 years experience spanning banking operations, internal control, inspection, monitoring, and product development. He is currently the head of SME Assets, a segment of the banking business banking group of STMB. That's First City Monument Bank. Welcome to the Spark Ignite series, sir. We're glad to have you on board.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so
Thank you for having me.
yeah, if you are joining us for the first time today, the topic of discussion is creating a culture of ownership and accountability in business. Sorry, I think I can hear myself. I don't know how that is happening.
Yeah,
Uh,
just go on. We can live with that.
yeah, okay. So just making sure you can hear me. Yeah, so this is the third edition of the June session, the June edition of the Spark Ignite series, Harnessing Value from Assets. Prior to this particular session, we've had discussions on, how compliance checklists for startups. We've also discussed how the things you can put in place for your assets, the assets you put in place in your business for you to get the most value from them. And then today we are talking about how you can create ownership and accountability in business, which we think is really important because for an organization to function properly, there are a set of things that we need to establish so that, the business can run smoothly and everybody is doing what they're supposed to do and, taking charge and ownership in the different roles they find themselves. So that is why we think this conversation is needed and it's very important for us to have at this time. So I'm going to let you both go at it, maybe first by telling us, what it means to take ownership in business or in the workplace.
Hmm.
So I don't know who needs to go first.
So, well, it's going to be a conversation. It's not a question and answer.
Absolutely.
I like to
Yes.
have conversations because I believe that people gain more from conversations than typical this thing. But if I should answer your question, um, and I like to paint pictures with examples. How many of you you go to an eatery, right, in Lagos? Because I live in Lagos. And you're trying to order food, and the waiter is very slow or is dragging his feet. Or how many of you you're driving out of, let's say, the bank, and the security man that's supposed to help help you navigate traffic is not interested because you didn't give him 15 naira or you didn't give him some
Right.
money, right? We see this happen every day. Now, everyday life in Lagos, in Nigeria, and that brings us to that. And if as a business owner, you also have to deal with it where your staff is not putting in all the effort you expect the staff to put in into the work, because they will say no be my papa work, right? They're not born
Right.
with this work, right? Um, and that's why this topic is very, very important, because you find founders and startup leaders struggle with this every day. Why is the word accountability very important? Why is the word ownership very important? Why is it that if you're given something to do, we expect you to do it and do it well? Because that's a summary of it. Now we see that people tend to mix the two words, accountability and ownership. Yes, you can use them interchangeably, but they mean two different things from my own perspective. I believe maybe Remy has his own perspective on this.
Well, okay.
But I believe that accountability is literally attaining the goals you are given. So if you're told to do X, Y, Z. Accountability is doing those things, right? Checking the boxes,
Right.
ensuring that it's done. Ownership is from within, right? Is your sense of doing things excellently every step of the way. So while you're given X, Y, Z to do, you are putting in all your effort to do it to the best of standards. And that's where I'll bring in another word, entrepreneurship. That's why I tell everybody's an entrepreneur, right? In every stage of
Right.
life, in everything you're doing, you can be an entrepreneur. If you're working for someone, you can be an entrepreneur. It's about ownership. Because with ownership
Right.
comes, creativity. With ownership comes that sense of I'm going to get it done no matter the obstacles that come my way. I'm going to find creative ways to get the thing or the task done. That's my own perspective on it.
Oh, well, thank you. You know what? I have a different perspective, as you have suggested. From my own, I will talk from two aspects: ownership and accountability. It's two ways. Are you a business owner? And are you accountable to that business? Or are you an employee? You understand? You have a sense of ownership of that business and you're accountable for what you have been employed to do as a job role. So the first thing is that, okay, as an entrepreneur, that you own the business yourself. You have a sense of entitlement. You own this thing, it is yours. The dream is yours. You want to grow it. You have passion for that business. But are you doing it the right way to be accountable to whatever happens out of it? So that's my perspective. The other perspective, okay, is that, okay, from where you are talking from, you are an employee, you want to run that place as if you are the owner. You have imbibed the vision and mission of the owner into your own, and you are translating it to what the owner expects by giving them the value of your job role. So those are the two things I want us to look at. And when we look at it critically and in-depthly, if you look at it from an in-depth side, if you take it as, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, I own my business. I have passion to run it. And let me use examples. For example, a lady that opens a salon is an entrepreneur. She has workers. She has a sense of, or the vision of what that salon should be in the next 5 years. And when you look at it, okay, this salon must have a barbering salon, a hair salon for women, a spa, and all those things, a gym, expansion ideas. Your business plan over 5 years, this is what you want to do. You start having branches here and there. But by the time you are starting off, that business is not registered. You are not separating it as an entity on its own that can have a life of its own. You own it, everybody knows that you own it. You employ people to work for you. And how will you pass your vision and mission to those people if they can't see a path for them in that line of business? That is one ownership. You understand? You own it, you want to grow. You cannot grow a vision alone. You have to involve other people to grow your vision. It might be they are passing face to their own vision, but they have to pass through your own vision to get to where they are going. That is one. Then accountability in that right. Now sit with you that, okay, am I accountable to these people? Yes, you owe them accountability. When profit comes, how money is being spent, you might not hold them explanation because you are the owner of the business. But when it comes to their salaries and everything, you have to be able to explain to them why their salary is being delayed, why you are not able to pay at a point in time, because they can see what is going on and what is going out of the business. Then on the side of an employee, you have been employed in a place now, you want to work, and you get there, they've told you what your job roles are, like a customer service, like a security man that you have mentioned. Is it there? Does he actually understand why he's outstanding there as a security man? Does he know what he's supposed to do when people come knocking at that business? Those are the things you have to let them know, that look, you have to belong to this place. These are the things I expect you to do. And these are your rewards if you do it, which is accountability. If I can account that, okay, you have brought this type of business by doing your work, I should be able to give you my own side of the deal. And that is how I see accountability and ownership as an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Actually,
so I think on that note, I just want to take your view on that, my own aspect of
no, actually, very interesting insight, and you touched on something that I think many founders actually struggle with, translating that vision to their staff or their co-workers, and which is a very, and that's a question we should be able to answer, or we should help people answer in this conversation. How do you create that culture of accountability and ownership? Because it's one thing to know, okay, I need X staff, I need X developer. It's another thing to translate that your vision into that person, so that person behaves the way it's supposed to behave when you're not there. Because let's be honest, when you're working with a large team of people, not even large team, even people generally, they tend to behave when you're there. When you're not there, they tend to do whatever they want to do, and that's like a cultural thing, right? How do you translate that culture into them? Is it by force? Do you beat it into them? When I say beat it, I don't mean physically beating them, right? But micromanaging and doing everything to be on their neck, or do you? How do you do? What's the best approach to doing that?
Well, from my own side, I've worked in different places, different organizations. Even before I start working in the bank, I work in an audit company, and I go out on audit and I know how people behave. And by training, I study personal psychology. You see, one thing is this: if the people you employ on your job, on a job role, does not have the vision of that organization in the next 2-3 years, they will not have the passion and ownership sense of how to take it. Because one thing is this: when you do job interview, you let people know what is their passion and what is the vision and mission of this organization. That, okay, can you find yourself in this vision? If you can see yourself there in that picture, number one, your passion is ignited for the job role you have been employed to do. It's an ideal situation, but it happens. And that will bring you to organizational culture. Your culture of organization now comes down to, okay, if you employ a new intern or a new employee, how do we give him our own side of what we expect from him, so that he can catch the fire and start running on its own, so that he can work without supervision when you are not there. He will do the job of what you expect. So it's for you to sit down and look at that caliber of staff when you are employing them, and let them know that, look, you are going to be here for a while, you are not the business owner, but I'm ready to share my vision with you. Can you see yourself in this picture? If you see yourself in this picture, these are the things you can become, even outside this picture, with the experience you are going to garner on this job, if you give your 100%. So a business owner must be able to sit down with his staff and let them understand where that organization is going. And you can see it is evident. When you go out and you have businesses, a business owner that is close to his employee, in the sense that they know what the business is all about, they know their suppliers, they know at least 60 to 70% of what the direction will be, and what is coming in and how it's being spent, source of inventory and all those things. They tend to invest themselves more in that job than people that you hire and you give a set of rules that they don't even know what is going to happen tomorrow. And you come tomorrow, you give different rules all the time. You find out that turnover of staff in that kind of organization will be very high. Their sense of ownership, even delivery of results, will not be as you expected. For example, in my industry now, in my industry. If you look at it now, the big banks, the tier one banks, they tend to keep more of their staffs than the tier two banks. Why? The ambition of the set of people, they are all Nigerians. They are all in the same age bracket. But by the time they share the vision with those people in tier one banks and they pay them well and they give them all those things, they tend to stay longer on the job because they have a job. What will I put it? They seems to understand the calibration of their job better. And the people in tier two banks, not that they are not good, but something is still missing in their own side that they want to say, okay, if we can add this one to it, if I can be in this place at this level of financial something and the rating of this organization, it will add more to me as a person that I'm performing this role in a tier one bank. So that means in anything financial, I want to be, that is some aspiration of some people to aspire to say, okay, I want to be the best, then I want to work for the best. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think that is the angle we should take this discussion to. Then we can now bring it down to the level of how people now imbibe culture in an organization, which is going to bring the sense of ownership and accountability.
Yeah, but I personally think that the conversation of culture can be very contextual, right? So depending on industry, depending on the age bracket of people that you're leading or you're considering, depending on even whoever is driving the vision of the company. And I feel like it's either tangible and non-tangible. There are two different, ways you can push culture. But like you said, right from the recruitment, you have to see if there's a culture fit when you're talking to whoever you're trying to recruit. Will this person be able to work X amount of hours the way I work? So depending on the way your company works, will this person, work without being micromanaged? Depending on if your type of work you do not micromanage, which I don't like anyways, will this person be able to deliver on time when he's expected to deliver on time, right? Right from the very get-go, you have to ensure that there's a cultural alignment and a vision alignment. Does this person even believe in what I'm building? And that's why at the interviews, when you ask people, what do you think about our company and how can you improve the company? You can already know if the person actually has looked into the company and actually sees himself working in the company, because that answer tells you somewhat, to some fair extent, how well that person is aligned to your culture of the company you're building. But when the person now gets in the company, and that's why I mentioned that it could be tangible and non-tangible. I feel like in Nigeria, there is so much focus on the tangible aspect in terms of building culture in the organization that the essence of culture is lost. And for most Nigerian companies, it is about salary and money. But right. I can tell you for a fact that culture is more of the intangible than the tangible. And that's why you find out that people building out, you find interesting startups, and I'm looking at the global perspective. I've had staff that they hadn't paid for several months before they raised money and became very big. For months, they were working for free because they were tied to the vision, right? And if you look at the Nigerian context, I agree that everybody tends to look at salary because of the way the country is set up, because of the economic situation, right? But I believe for a fact, and from a lot of the companies that I've had to deal with, that a key part of building a good culture is looking at the non-tangibles. How do you talk to your staff? Do you even have a handbook that they can reference to say, this is the amount of leave days I have? This is when if I request my leave 2 weeks before time, as per my handbook, I'm going to get my leave and I'm going to be off work for the duration of time I'll be on leave. And nobody's going to call me. Nobody's going to threaten me to come back. I know how Nigerian corporate culture is, so let's not pretend to ourselves. When it's time for my promotion, I will be promoted. And if I cannot be promoted, I'm giving clear indication of what happened, why I was not promoted, and what's the plan for me. Like, there is a career goal or there's a career path for me as I join the organization. Those are the non-tangibles that we tend not to focus on. We are so big on money. And annoyingly, we are so big on promotion without anything. So they say, oh, you got promoted. You got promoted to where? Exactly. So this is a conversation we need to have, because unfortunately, we've adapted the culture, and I'm using this in a very broad and loose term, so I'm not pointing fingers, the culture of civil service and banking culture into SMEs. So and it doesn't work. Like I said, culture is very, very contextual. You cannot take what has worked in civil service, which is a very bad example, or has worked in the banking industry, which is changing and improving, to SMEs, people that cannot afford to pay their staff, and people that are struggling for talent. So
Right.
this cultural conversation I feel like
Particular.
as a founder, you have to be very deliberate around the culture you are building. And
Right.
I'll end by saying something. Just because something worked for Mr. X many years ago does not necessarily mean it's going to work today, because the times are changing. People are more exposed. Let me use the word exposed. People are seeing people, because of remote work, people are seeing how other people are being treated in other companies. And so if you're not careful, you keep on losing talents day after day. And then you're saying, oh, they poached my talent. They did not poach your talent. You chased your talents away because of your culture.
Right.
Okay. All right. I will pick it up from that place. You see, culture, organizational culture had to do with what an organization believes, vision and mission, how do they explain it, and let people that are coming on board imbibe it. As you have said, there is a civil service culture. There is a banking culture that is like a rat race. People try to live above their means and all those things. That is on the peripheral. But on deep down, as you have said, if you look at the intangibles and the tangible ones, how does it affect your business in terms of your culture? I will not talk about the ones that are peripheral in terms of how they dress and how they speak, how maybe people do this or do that. That doesn't affect business. What affects your business should be your organizational culture. When you, as you have said, all those rules, your handbook, you follow your books, and if there's going to be a deviation from what is written down, there's an explanation. You carry your staff along and say, okay, this year, this is the profit we made, we could not do this. This is what we are going to do in lieu of what we're supposed to have done in our agreement. So the person has a sense of belonging, and he knows that his back is being, you have his back. You understand? And that is how. Let me give you an example of people that follows some religious leaders. How did they get to start dressing like them, start speaking like them, start making hairstyles like them? They have, it's not an indoctrination, it's a free will thing, it's not compulsory. But because they've seen what they wanted to become in those people, they might have moved close to them, studied their words, and they feel that this is where I want to be. So I will try and emulate this person in his way of dressing, his way of speaking, in his way of behaving, the perceived way of behaving. It might not be 100%, some of them might be superficial, you understand? But the truth of it still remains that they have cut out a culture from that place, and people are trying to follow suit. You understand? And how did that happen? The person that is at the center must have taken his time, either by indoctrination, let me use that word, to indoctrinate those people in his own values, so that they drop their own value and pick his own value for life. And in an entrepreneur, how do you do that? You can only do that if you have allowed those set of your employees to come in, do what you say you are going to do, or provide explanations in cases where those obligations will not be met, and you give them alternatives. That okay, this is what is happening. It looks as an ideal situation, but that is what brings organizational culture and accountability. Because that is when you can now be saying, this person is not accountable. I've given him everything he needs to grow, everything he needs to do. This is not going on that job role, is affecting your business. And it's going to affect him on a personal level also, because it's going to affect other things later if you ask him to go. But if a good hand that has taken to you, imbibe your culture, do what you need to do, but you fail on your own expectations, you understand? Just like you engage a new staff, you have promised that person, I'm going to give you a car, give you a house in Banana Island, give you all this. And you give him maybe 3 months in Radisson Blu to just stay. After that 3 months in Radisson Blu, you say, oh, God, sorry, that house in Banana Island is not ready. I got a house for you in Surulere. The person will say, okay, let's move on. He has done a little bit. For him to have done this, and he got to the office. You say he's going to be 9 to 5. He start working 9 to 12 in the night. Maybe we have a project. There's the abnormal now becomes the exception, now becomes the rule. You understand? And those are the things that the person will now look at and say, oh wow, come to think of it, this is not what I was promised when I joined this place. He will start looking for other options. And for you not to do that, that means if you have promised all those things, if anything is going to change for a while, let them know and say, look, for these 3 months, I'm not going to pay you because this project has not come true. If all of us get this project, and once the money comes in, everybody knows that the money has come. The money is already in the organization, and everybody enjoys, they collect their salary, arrears, or bonus, or whatever you need to pay them. Then everybody will believe you. They will now start following your footsteps. They will now start seeing the way, because you have the superior information than them as a business owner. You know where you want to be. You know how to go about those things. There are little advices. You let it have effect on what they are doing on a daily basis. They can come with superior arguments in cases you bend. If you don't bend 1, 2, 3 times, some people just feel, my opinion doesn't count here. And those are the things that bring the sense of ownership and accountability. So if you now give somebody a responsibility and he fails in that responsibility, how do you react to it? Do you crucify them for it? Or do you just look at them and say, okay, this is where you have failed, this is the reason why you have failed, this is what we can do, these are the things you're supposed to do better. Next time when you give him that opportunity, he will perform better. You understand? But if you castigate him and say, look, I will never try you this one, you have made us to lose this business and all those things, and that is the end, the person will feel shut out, and at the end of the day, he will become a disgruntled element, start affecting other staffs that you engage after him by poisoning them and say, look, this person will promise you heaven, and now once you make a mistake, he shut the door against you. Then it's for you now to start looking for an exit door. So those are the realities on ground. And an entrepreneur needs to balance off. Not that you open the door down for your employees to do what they like. You understand? And as you are trying to give them that organizational culture, over time, you will have employees that will be moved from your distractor to passive observer, then to your promoter. That is how they will move. And by the time they become a promoter, they become an advocate for you anywhere they go. They start singing your story. And even if they leave that organization, they will still be bringing businesses to you. Will still be, and those are the things that we should look at as an entrepreneur. How do I make my staff to become my devotee in this business, so that any information you have, you share with them, let them come to almost to your level. So they too will go and do research. By the time they come back and say, okay, this is what I find out about this thing we are doing. We can do it this way. We can do this. Is what Mr. Lagbaja is doing. This is what I find out. They give you information that you might not even get on your own. Right. And if you adopt that and use their ideas, and you something better, acknowledge them also. Let them know that they have contributed something positive to the business. So over time, their sense of accountability to you will increase because they know that you hold the ace, and their ownership will be top notch because they know that, look, my opinion counts in this place. And that is what an entrepreneur should build into his or employee and to his own self, that, look, this is my vision, I can't do it alone. I have to work with the people around me, and I have to make my people to understand this business the way I do, so that we can always achieve our goal at the end of it all.
Yeah.
And if there's any problem, you share it. Success, you share it. And I think that's the way it should be.
Just to add a side comment that is related and unrelated to this. This is why I'm an advocate for business leaders that have succeeded to share their stories or share how they did it. Remember how I talked about how we don't necessarily have some of the best examples in the industry when it comes to culture.
No,
we don't necessarily have that. So we need more people that are building out their business. And that's why I love what the Spark is doing, linking business leaders to people that actually need that information. We need more people telling their story. This is how I built my company. Not saying, oh, it's God or it's Jesus. This is how I built my company. At the beginning, this is how I recruited people. This is how I set out a structure, an organizational structure that helped my business become $1 million business, right? Not, how in Nigeria, everybody just dances around and never tells
it's not magic or a miracle.
Yeah, it's not. It's a whole lot of work. And I tell people, it's so easy to say I'm a CEO, I'm a founder. It is hard. Leadership is very, very hard. This thing called culture is hard because it's not something you get right at a go. It's something you keep on tweaking and tweaking till you find the right balance. I remember how I said it is contextual. That takes me to the conversation of your leadership style and culture, because at different times you have to exhibit different types of leadership styles. So I've been
Yes.
opportunity to lead teams and even work with people where at the beginning I thought, oh, they were so authoritarian, right? But then again, I learned that it was context, what level we were in the business, where we were as the employees, and so you see people just look at, oh, this person, he says get it done, he gets it done. I'm going to adapt that and do that in my business. It doesn't always work that way. What level of staff do you have? What's their educational background? What's their skill? Um, so in terms of context, a school leaver, you definitely would have to micromanage the person. But the person has 10, 20 years experience in doing that job. You know that you should not be micromanaging that kind of talent. If not, the person will get disgruntled and want to leave, right? And that's where you now begin to have problems of accountability, in the sense that if they're not allowing me to do my job, why should I be bothered about it? Because you're micromanaging and you're not letting the person express himself in the job. Because a big part of
Right.
accountability is allowing the person express themselves, express their skills, express what they know, and express their
And
creativity on the
grow
job.
there.
To the conversation about ownership, this one always gets me annoyed. Always, because I feel like Nigerians, we say we hustle. But I think that as employees, and I'm harping on employees, we don't have enough employees that take ownership of their role. They just see it as a job. I sign in the morning, I send some emails, and I'm out in
Right.
the evening. And ownership is not just taking charge of your job. It's about looking at everything that has to do with your job and how you achieve it. Somebody gave an example on Twitter recently. He said that if he walks into an organization and the clock at the organization is not working, he already in his mind, he will not do business with the people because he feels like they don't take
Right.
ownership of the business. Because something as simple as a clock, what stops you from coming in the morning? It's not your job. It's actually not your job. But if the success of the organization is your own, if you believe in it, you say, oh, that clock is not working. How can we fix it? You either call somebody to do it, or you actually go buy batteries, how much your batteries, and do that. So maybe how do we now, maybe this is a question I'm throwing out. How do we make people own the job? Say you have communicated the vision, you have done everything, but how? Because this is something I have some answers to it, but this is something that keeps me riled up a
Well,
whole lot.
you see is this. One thing is this. If you yourself communicated, communication is two ways.
Right.
Communication from an ownership point, the owner, uh, communication is not complete until you have a feedback. And as far as I'm concerned, as a business owner, you have a vision, your mission, and you engage people to bring those things to bear. What level, after you have explained to them what their roles will be, how do they see themselves in that picture? Do they see themselves as a passerby or somebody that can achieve something while running your own vision? Let me give you an example. Sometimes ago, in my former place of work, they gave me an assignment. And that assignment is like something new that we have not done in our unit before. I think I was in, was it in inspection? Yeah, it was in inspection. And I was new in that unit. And there was a particular, not really a fraud. There is a balance, there is an account that did not balance. And it's a GL account that must be balanced. Inspectors, CBN will come and check and look at what the problems are. I can remember vividly now, it's a dividend warrant account. We are paying dividends for a big company. And you know all these small amounts that we have like 20,000 dividend warrant of 430 naira. You understand? And people who dump it on the bank, it comes in through the clearinghouse. They have to post. You have to put somebody's name on the register that is the owner. So it become an issue. They now pack it up, just abandon that account. They now set us up and say, okay, go and lead the team that we reconcile this account. So we got there. We brought out the case where those documents are. Number one, I could have worked on it and say, okay, I don't need to have sense of ownership. Why do I want to kill myself on something some people have worked on and they did not get any results? If I don't, it won't affect my job. Worst case scenario is that they will set on another committee to come and work on it after we have done our own bit. Maybe we'll resolve it a little bit and move on. But when we got there, we are three. I called them, I was a team leader. I said, look, this job, we have options. So don't let us see it as a punishment. Even if it looks like punishment to us, let us find out what actually went wrong. We hope break out the GL account. It's now, we are now taking it out of the context of the people that send us and take it as our own mission. That look, this is not about me as a person. I need to succeed in this, what I'm doing. So until you get people to that level, that look, don't look at this job as just paying the bills. Look at it, does it fit into your plan of accomplishment at the end of the day? Can you boast yourself and shape it your chest and look, I've done this in the past, I've done this, I've been successful doing this. And I told my colleagues, we are all almost on the same grade as at that time, and we sat down and we did that job. In fact, within 3 weeks, we cracked the whole thing, and we were able to automate that process for them to do it, and the account got balanced afterwards. So it's something that when you have communicated your vision, those people too need to do their own part by saying, okay, what is their own ambition in this thing? Are they people that want to identify with success or what they are doing? Because if you say, okay, you have a culture, how do you push people? You have preached to these people, they are not following it. If they are the set of people that their attitude is just about what is in it for me, let me just gain my money and just move ahead and do a little I have to do. We have them in place of employment, in the job place that they will just keep on moving from one place to another. Not necessarily, not that they are not bringing value, but their vision is not about accomplishment on the job. It's about what can I get from this. Everybody has that one at the back of his head because that's what we are working for. But there's some sense of accomplishment on your job role that look, I've been able to bring a new vision to what I'm doing on this role, or create a new glitch on this job role that anybody that comes about me after me should be able to take a new direction and had new ways of doing things. I think it's all about individuals. And when you recruit people and you don't see those kind of things in individuals, when you see people, let me give an example also. Sometimes ago, we went for this NYSC camp. That time we had a product for NYCs, a CBN product that will give them money to start their own entrepreneur and they can go out. While we are having that meeting with the CBN officials at that NYSC camp, somebody said, just give me this 3 million naira, I'm going to Malaysia. If you give that person that 3 million naira, even if he doesn't travel abroad, he will not use it for that business because his mind is not there.
Right.
So it's like that. And when you look at attitude of people, everybody wants to get rich quick, everybody wants to get the top, the shortest route. But it doesn't happen to be like that all the time. So when you look at your category of staff, do you look at people? There are some people that are very good and they can do the job, but they are not patient enough to do it the right way it should be. So they will keep on jumping around. They can get promotion fast, but they come down the same fast way they go up. So those are the things that you look at. And when you, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, you become a coach, you start telling people, try to get insight into their personal behavior to correct some people if you can. Not that you force it on them, but you let them see life from other side as per your own experience of life and situation that people have passed through. I think that one will work in getting people to imbibe the right culture on the job. But the loyalty, you understand, the loyalty on that job, which is the accountability, is what no person can really guarantee.
I
Can't guarantee
if I'm going to add something, I think that it's also about trust. Do they trust the organization they are joining to help them build their career? Do they trust that their team lead will stand for them if there's a mistake, right? Will defend them. I remember having a team lead that would defend you like crazy in front of the boss, will shred you inside. She never used to shred you outside, right? Because at the end of the day, everybody is inherently selfish. I say this. Everybody thinks of themselves first.
Yeah.
Now, if you can connect the company objective to that person's selfishness, that thing that the person desires most, is it a promotion? Is it in the next 5 years, the one person wants to move to go to Canada, or in the next 5 years, he wants to build a house? How is working in your organization going to help him get there? That is very, very key. And when I recruit people for my team, I
It
always
is.
have that conversation at the very get-go. Okay, fine, all fine and good. You've said all the best things at the interview. Now let's have a conversation. Where do you see yourself in the next few years? And how can I and the organization
Yeah.
get you there? It's very, very important. That's a conversation
Exactly.
Right.
that every business leader and founder has to have with that, because that's the only way they can own it. They can
I
take the
agree
company
with
on
you.
literally on
That's
their
key.
head and say, okay, I'm going to dedicate all my time to doing this, even if I don't feel like working. I'm going to do it because I'm going to get to this place because I still work here. And sometimes this is actually debatable. I feel like ownership and that trust in the system is two ways. It could be, that trust in the organization, or it can be that trust in the CEO or the founder. So some people just
Right.
believe in the founder.
Yeah.
It's not about the
Yeah.
company, it's about the founder.
Yeah.
You know how you
Yeah.
About
talked about
vision.
religious leaders.
Right.
It's about that
Yeah.
founder.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
you like how he carries himself. You want to be like him in the
You can
future.
even get
And
down
you
to the
believe in
level
that
that
person's
it's just
vision.
my direct boss.
Exactly.
Can get to that level that I'm in this organization because this person is here. Once he leaves, I carry my bag. And
This is why you have to
here.
recruit
But
right.
because the team is working,
Right.
I can do anything for my boss. That's just I think I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And you see, when it comes to that, that means that the team lead has shared his own vision, and those people. I always tell my people when I was in operations and on the shop floor as a CSA, I always tell them, I say, look, this job is all for one for all. And if one fails, for example, if somebody did not balance at the end of the day, nobody goes home. All of us will sit down there until that person gets it right, and we can close and go and sleep. Some of my staff doesn't like it. They will say, oh, guy, but I'm not the one that. I said, look, the day your own will come, will not give notice. The same thing we do for you, did for this person, is what we are going to do for you. So we all solve that problem together. So, and it makes it faster and improves the bonding in the team. And it goes to a stage that we stop having any issue. Because before there is a problem, somebody will say, look, I don't want to stay late today. Do you have a problem? The person that normally have problem. And everybody will say, no, I don't have any issue today. Okay, I have a slight issue. Can you help me look at it? In no time, they solve the problem for that person. I need to get the speed to understand what the errors are. And in no time, everybody get to know what they're supposed to do. So, and a team is as strong as its weakest link. And if you expose that weakest link, it's going to bring down the whole chain.
Absolutely.
So that's the way I see work. And that is where I see organizational culture. So if the person leading just abandon those people and say, look, it's your problem, it's not on my idea. If you have any problem, go and sort it out yourself. That person will have a sense. It will affect the sense of person, and it will affect his job, and it will affect his loyalty to that organization. And because he sees you are the face of that organization. And if it happens that you are the entrepreneur itself, it will see you as a person that they cannot even, this person is just a passing time. Once you get another job, he jumps ship straight. So those are the things that you look at. And as an entrepreneur, according to this our topic, you have to have that sense that, look, it's not only empathy. You have to share in the feelings of the employee, and even you have to bring them up to your own speed in terms of the way you relate with them. So in an organization where there is dichotomy, this is the boss, this is the gate man, this is the secretary, things get hardly done the normal time and as it's supposed to be. You can only force things that are not natural. That is when people will be working when you are there. If it's going to be a natural organization, an organic society that will work on its own, people just have to have a sense of belonging and a sense of accountability that, look, I can do these things. Even if things go wrong, I have my boss's back. And that is why a gateman will tell you that, look, I send that man away because this is why, and you will not castigate him. This is why a gateman will say, okay, I let this man wait for you, even despite it's not right, I had to bring him in because he has brought business. So he has understand what the organization stands to gain in everybody that comes through the door. So those are the things that you need to imbibe in your staff. And it doesn't happen overnight, as you have said. It's going to take time because employees are different. We are made up of different personalities, and you have to manage people at their own level. as you have said, people that are educated, people that have experience on the job are different from interns or people that are just joining or people that came from a different place with a different culture. And those are the people that will come, whether they add to you or they take away from you. So you can employ a toxic person that will come and destroy your team. And you can bring in somebody that will come outside and better whatever he beats on ground. So it depends on you as an entrepreneur to be on the lookout, to look at that ownership structure in your ownership sense and loyalty in your staff, and how to increase it to your own benefit and to their own. If they don't benefit from that ownership structure, they will leave you in no time.
I was going to add something, and one of it you've touched on it. How do you handle? So you're building the culture of ownership and accountability. How you handle when your staff make mistakes is very important, and how you fire is also very important. I used to have a boss who would hire fast and fire fast. Like, he used to think twice. It was very interesting, right? It might not necessarily work for you. So, like I said, everything is contextual, right? But there was a reason. He said the damage a bad staff will do will take years to correct. So he needs to think twice, right? But it's very, very important that those two things I've mentioned, founders and business leaders need to always take a look at it. When a staff makes a mistake, how do you address the mistake? Do you tackle the mistake or do you tackle the person? Because I've seen organizations where they tackle the person. You're very foolish. You're stupid. You didn't go to school. I will not lie. I'm right out of university. I had a boss that told me that because it was a simple mistake. I was writing a memo and I put in corporation instead of corporate or something. And she went and looked. She just looked at me. Did you even go to school? You wasted your time in university. It's a normal insult, right? Now, if you tell me that, I'll laugh. But at that point in time, my God, it hits me hard. And I never liked that woman. I never liked her. Even if she was, to be honest, she ended up being a very great person, but I never liked her. How do you handle the mistakes your staff make? How do you address it? Do you tackle the problem? How are you trying to make them improve? Because a big part of people taking ownership and accountability is them improving on the job. If they feel like you are invested in them becoming better people, they would actually take ownership. Now, how do you also fire those people that are not bringing value to your organization? Very, very, very important. And as a founder, that's very difficult, to be honest. People say that, it's not to fire. Trust me, firing people can be very hard. Especially maybe you believed in the person, or the person was referred by somebody in the industry, or different scenarios. Or Nigeria, you think about how bad Nigeria is, but you have to fire the person. So those two things are very, very important, and you cannot take it lightly. You cannot hold on to a talent that is not adding value. You have to let the person go one way or the other.
Yes. Okay. That brings me to how do you do appraisals? How do you appraise your staff? How do you commend those people that have done well? How do you say those people that have not met up your expectation? How do you let them know that they are not measuring up on your scale? But that appraisal issue is different from when you hire a toxic staff. If you work with a toxic staff that comes into an organization, if care is not taken, the damage, as you have said, is going to take years to clean up. So the earlier you identify a toxic staff and sack that person, the best for your organization. And how do you do that? You must do your appraisals every day of your staff. When you give them tasks to do, people that will give you genuine excuses. People that will set up and bring in flimsy excuses, and they will help ask other people to support them in doing things that are wrong, cover them up and all those things. And when a new person joins your team, if your deliverables are not being met, you need to go and check that person. Has it corrupt the other people he meant on ground? Then try to find out. Try to separate tasks. Give him a personal task to do. If it fails in that personal task to deliver, that doesn't involve other people. If you submit those other tasks on time, then you can now say, okay, maybe there's an issue with this particular task. But one thing is this: you evaluate your staff on appraisal basis every day, and you look at everything. Their interpersonal relationship matters in the office. And when you work with a team and you are the team lead, and you look around the people you are leading, how are they relating with each other? I used to have a staff that when he joined my team, he wants to work alone. He doesn't like working with other people. And I find out that he wants to do what every other person is doing, take over their job role and add to his own. He's good personally, but he's a toxic person. He will destroy the team because there's not going to be teamwork. You understand? And when you look at people like that, you talk to them and they cannot change, you ask them to go. Or you find a way of taking them out of your team. Just encourage them to go and take another unit or find something else to do. Because before you know it, they start breaking the camaraderie that in your team and start bringing individualistic. At times, it might be good for you if you have deliverables that you need to quickly do. But a time will come when that team spirit, we have to take you through most of the time. And if you have had a team that is working on ground and somebody comes like that and you don't notice it, by the time that person leaves, everybody will start working in silos and your progress will be retarded, no matter how where you are. And those are the things that affect, because by that time, you now have people talking to you behind each other. I say, don't tell him that I said this. Don't say him that I do that. And those are the things that bring down organization. And at the end of the day, the organizational culture that the person meant of ground will have gone. By the time it's going, the organization will not be the same again. You might have lost some good hands just because you overreacted in certain things because based on the information somebody has given to you. So those are the things that you need to be careful of. And you need to study well each and every personality that works under you in an organization. And when you work with them, all what we are saying is not a script thing. It's not straight jacketed thing. It's not something that you can sit down and say this is the answer to all questions. No, it's not one question, not one solution fits all. So, but it depends on you as a person to be an observant person and to be able to take decisions fast.
Yeah.
Because the timing of your decision too matters. Yeah. You can give some people some time to change, but if you find out that this person doesn't fit into your bill, let the person go as soon as it comes. It doesn't harm you than because the harm that person will come will be better. It will be more than the good is going to bring to you at the end of the day.
Very true. Talking about timing, I think we are really, really out of time. So I'd like to add one last thing. With your idea, start building out the kind of culture you want to see in your organization. Start building out how you want your organization to work, because it is from that foundation that you can actually build something that would make your business sustainable. Not culture should not be an afterthought. It should be something you do right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Wow.
My closing remarks would be that you are just hold on. Let me do my closing remarks. My own would be that okay, you as an entrepreneur, who are you? How do you relate with people? What culture do you want to be? Must be what you yourself profess and do. So that's what you can pass on to people. You cannot be a bad person in the real sense of it and be a good person to your staff. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. And just quickly, I think, based on what you said, right, what I picked out of it, I picked a lot of things though, but I noticed there's no, sometimes in most organizations, there's no reward for good behavior and there are no consequences for bad behavior. And that can affect, the dynamics of the workplace. So imagine you're doing a good job and then somebody is slacking and then you're like, everything is the same for everybody. It can actually affect, the performance of somebody that is actually doing great and then the other person too. So that kind of situation, as you put it, the civil service mentality, yeah. So that kind of situation can also affect the organization. Now, as a recap, in case you're just joining us here, I picked a lot of things, like a lot of insights from what you said. So the first thing, my own particular case, so you can add yours at the end of this session. You can just send us a message, go to our last post and just comment there. But personally, my takeaways are, you have to communicate your value proposition, strive for excellence, and importantly, ensure that you establish culture You mentioned alignment and vision alignment once you employ somebody. And then, you need to have an SOP because, like you said, handbook where, you have to, a way for everybody to know what is expected for them and hold it to heart. And yeah, being transparent. I think Oluremi mentioned that, like, being transparent with, your value proposition, your offers that you are putting out there to your employees so that, when things doesn't, they know what to expect and what to get from you. So I can't thank you both enough for this impactful conversation. It has been really, really insightful, and thank you so much for joining us today. And for our audience, right, we have, as usual, a gift for you. For making it this far, so simply click the link on our bio for you to access one of the more free subscription access for you at the Slack platform. So this access grants you, access to everything we have on the Slack platform, the masterclass, the magazine, and other community resources. And of course, make sure you join us next week, Friday, same time at 7 p.m. Oh, it's almost 8 p.m. So from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. next week, we're going to be having another super impactful conversation on managing strategic partnerships. You see what we're doing here? So we're taking you through, on a journey for you to actually make sure that you have the best thing you need to scale your business. So once again, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We're so grateful to have you on board. And on behalf of the SPAC, my name is Kidalo, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Good night.